How's it going? There's Arnie behind me. So you're just kind of on hold while you're waiting for final paperwork stuff, I guess? You're on admin hold at Lackland? Figured I'd do a little live stream, see how I do. If I get more tired, I could always take a nap before my model meeting tonight. Like I said, tired. How about you? I know the waiting's got to be killing you, though. Please tell me you didn't pack all your models away for the trip and you brought some in the truck? Or am I just gonna get an, oops response? Oops. Good point. Hey, at least that works, right? Hey, you can fix the F-15. Excuse me. I'm sure they'd allow you to make a space if you went out and got something snapped together. Just to pass the time. Are all the puppers getting along at least? Meh. Typical age difference fights, things like that. The younger ones want to play, the older ones want to sleep. Don't know how long I'll be on. I'm fighting the nap trap. Sorry. It feels like I'm losing. Just very tired this week. Just feeling, yeah, I'm off the next 2 days. Kinda didn't want to stream today, but I think I have to break that habit. If you know what I mean. Obviously, there's going to be some days where it's going to be, you know, take the day off now from everything. Just a lot of things lately, it feels like I got to put forth more effort than necessary in things. But yesterday was really tough because there was basically a smoke inversion blown in from somewhere. Like, I couldn't see the mountains from my house. Oh yeah, but lately if I'm working on something, I want to make progress, right? If I'm not streaming, then half an hour of work is fine. But if I'm streaming, I want to make it worthwhile. I want to make it worth my time and yours. like I said, I've got another model club meeting tonight too. I'll be taking the Ornithopter and the female Zentradi. Maybe this if I can get it mostly assembled. Let's get the black gray out. I know. I know what you meant, you know, something is better than nothing, basically. And I agree. I also got the rest of Jesse by Ritual Casting printed out. It's the little wakeboard character that he's got. So we'll be probably moving into painting that in the next stream or two. I really want to get her finished first. I could airbrush these, I just don't feel like powering the thing up right now. Loading it and cleaning it and all the noise. Yeah, there's a big smoke screen that's blown in from one of the surrounding states. Usually when California, Oregon, and Washington are on fire, the smoke blows in from there. But lately the wind's been coming from the south, not from the west. So, I don't know. It was very hazy. Now we got a windstorm that's come through and it's cleared it out. But still, I feel really just clogged my head. Let that dry so I can hold it on the other end. everybody else has been doing well. So I'm off today and tomorrow, which means I'll be trying to stream today and tomorrow. Obviously I am on today. And then my next day off will be next Monday. And I think after that, Wednesday or Thursday. So my days off get messed up again. But I don't have, 5 extreme days between then either. So it'll feel like I'm on more often than I really am. I'm gonna see if I can get something else to listen to up here. Popping my shoulder there. I'm using some of the playlists from Versus Music. These two skinnier cords go from her wrench to the unit on her waist, and then one goes from the unit there to the ground, like off the base into oblivion. Big one's dried enough, I can keep going on that. Then while these fully dry, I can get back onto her hair. Problem is I can't play it while I can't broadcast it. Because I have both on here. I've got Ebhead and I've got a couple different albums. I got Upheaval, Off, and a couple others from Front 242. We're talking some, early to mid 90s shit. Oh, hi Arnie. The old one has come to see us. If I listened to that while I was on here, I'd have to turn the music off, which is kind of boring for you guys when I get quiet. I just don't want to get copyright struck because of it. And a lot of times it's not even the company that owns the music that puts the strike against you, it's just some bot. but there's nothing to prove that they don't have the rights to it. But right now, with the fog in my head, even Nitzareb wouldn't, you know, do much. And you gotta be in the right mood for that. Oh, I thought I heard somebody meowing. Marbles is with us, too. We had to order a new disposal unit for our sink. I was making coffee the other morning and, you know, cleaning out the pot, and I heard more dripping than there should have been. And I look, and water's just pouring out of the bottom of the disposal unit. No. You go sit down, buddy. You can't come on the table. What are you doing? Hmm? So that's $150 we didn't really need to spend. It's on your ear. Hi. What do you want, old boy, huh? Can I keep painting, or are you going to get in the way here and try and rub your face on the brush every time I move it up here? Hmm? So what are we doing, Arnie? What are we doing? You're sitting on parts I just painted. Thank you. Hi, Marble Boy. Don't lick the brushes, okay? Stop that, please. I never was a fan of the Raptor, to be honest. The wife is calling me for some reason. So, real quick, I gotta run upstairs and grab something. When I hit my pause screen, there's a little chat window that's only supposed to show what's going on in my chat. From what I'm seeing, it's got some kind of football shit going on that's not associated with my stream. You're not seeing that anywhere on your guys' end, are you? Either YouTube or Twitch? Because I'm not. I'm only seeing 3 viewers between the two, and nothing is going on. So I'm going to pause it again real quick. That is weird. It's almost like my pause screen is mixed with somebody else's chat, which I don't know how that's happened unless it's a fault in Stream Elements. The wife got me a chocolate shake from In-N-Out Burger. Yeah. Honestly, the F-35 is like the F-22. The wars it was designed for aren't going to happen. It's... The thing about most of the more successful aircraft we've had over the decades is they were built for a purpose when the necessity required it, and then we kept them going afterward, right? Hence the F-15, the F-16. Hell, the F-105 wasn't retired until I think the 90s fully. But they were all designed to do a job, and they did them well. And instead of maintaining that fleet, aged as it was, we've wasted money on aircraft that are planned for combat that's never going to happen. They were designed to go against this kind of strategies the Russians would have employed back in the 90s. And that won't happen now. Not in the numbers that they were thinking back then, anyway. And F-35 is kind of like the tail end of that thought process. While it came about much later, its inclusion was in the planning for the F-22. Because the 22 was supposed to replace the 15, and the 35 was supposed to replace the 16, equivalency, which it has. It's replaced them physically, but capability-wise, there's something about the older aircraft that still seems more viable, for lack of a better word. It's like, yeah, I'm not knocking the technological superiority of the airframes in order to engage in combat, but we don't know enough about the wear and tear on them to say these airframes can last 40 plus years now, It sounds like they may have finally done it, but not just yet. I'm just adding some highlights here, seeing what's going where. I'll have to see how they dry and how they look. I might go back over them with a different mix. Right now they're not blended very well. I might have to go back over them with the oils. Ow. Yeah, the A-10's been in contention for decades now. Even back in the 90s they were talking about getting rid of it. That's nothing new. But like the F-14, which at one time we had sold to Iran, but then they did some stupid shit back in '79, and we decided to destroy what we gave them, and it took them long enough to reverse engineer it to get it back in the air. But we'd never sell the airframes of the A-10s to somebody else. At least not that I'm aware of. One of the things that's helped the A10 over the years, though, is every time they've decided to try getting rid of it, oh look, tank engagements. So at the times, they couldn't exactly do anything to get rid of it. Hard points, yes. Overall load capability, a bit different. I never personally worked on it. I know there's others here who could probably speak more on it. And back when it was first designed, yeah, you probably could slam a 500 pounder on each station and not have an issue. But the weapons themselves have changed so much that its actual loadout varies from mission to mission. And there are certain things we can't mix on the airframes. And you'd be surprised what the F-15E can carry. There's certain things out there only the 15E can carry. Right now, aside from the GAU 8, the Strike Eagle does outclass the A-10. But if I also remember right, they're not in service right now, but I think they're working on bringing something like it back. 30mm gun pods. I know they had 20mm gun pods back in the day, but I believe they're bringing out a 30mm, but I can't be sure. Like I said, I haven't really been up on the weapons since 2008. So my information is way outdated, but there were things in work back then. And the gun pod itself is not a new idea. Back when the F4 came out, they realized, oh shit, it needs a gun. So they put the M61 in a gun pod and put it on the F4. Excuse me. Did you ever see the camo schemes they had planned for it back in the 90s? Actually, while I've still got a little bit of this black paint, let's get her watch band painted in. No, there's a different scheme they'd had planned for it back when it was still in its early development stages. When it was supposed to have multiple ejector racks on the wings, not just singular pylons, and when it could also carry them on the conformal fuel tanks too. The actual payload for the airframe was supposed to be much higher. It obviously got toned down a lot, but it was supposed to be much, much higher. Those Pratt & Whitney engines are no joke. Because you got to think, back in the 70s and 80s, they had developed the anti-satellite program. And mind you, this was a C model that did the work back then. But you have an airframe capable of lifting what is essentially a solid rocket booster to suborbital height and launch it and kill a satellite. So if you look at those numbers, and that was back in the early days of the airframe, think about what the Strike Eagle might be capable of today if we really had to use it in more ways than one. I can't comment much on the SDB. It was introduced as I was getting out. I played with them a little bit, but the airframes I worked on weren't capable of them yet, but were being upgraded. Chocolate milkshake is good. I can feel the diabetes flow through me. Wait, what? Hell, I still have to finish my Strike Eagle model. I started that thing back in 2018. Yep. May not mean that particular airframe was 50 years old, but the 16 has been around that long. But that also shows that, you know, good designs don't need to change. Look at the M2 Browning 50 caliber. Aside from some minor functional things internally, the overall design has not changed in 100 years. Hell, if I remember right, there was a South American country that was using a P-51 variant armed with AIM-9 missiles up until the 80s. I could be wrong on that, though. We even brought a retired and discarded airframe back into service out of the boneyard for use in Afghanistan recently. I say recently as in the last time we were actually there. And that was the OV-1. All because we needed something that could go lower and slower than the A-10 in those valleys. nobody behind me. Marbles likes to stretch out behind my chair if he's down here. Nope, we're good. No, not the Mohawk. The Bronco. Completely different frame. Different plane entirely. OV1, not OV10. And the hometown where I grew up used to be a Grumman depot. And I used to watch Mohawks fly in and out of there all the time, along with F-14s on their function flights. OV1D, not the OV10D. OV10D has a pod along the side. Or am I thinking OV1 Mohawk, OV10 Bronco? I'm getting them backwards now. Let me refresh myself. I've got models of each of them. Whichever one's the Bronco, not the Mohawk. Yeah, the OV10 is the Bronco. Yeah, the long-nosed one. We brought that one back into service. But there's also the OV1, which played a similar role and was in use by the Army. By the time it was out of service, the 10 was in use by the Marines. Sorry, I got my ones and zeros mixed up. Well, counterinsurgency and close air. It could do all kinds of things. Well, it could carry some bombs and missiles, and it had 6 M60 machine guns mounted in, or not 6, 4 M60 machine guns mounted in pods on the sides of it. And enough space in the back for like 3 outfitted Marines or Army soldiers to be dropped off. It used to be used for the drug thing, and the drugs won. So those watching on Twitch, I notice there's 4 people there. Also talking to people on YouTube, I'm doing multi-stream. So, if the conversation seems a little off, that's why. And welcome, welcome. Trying to pop some more details on this figure. Chocolate shake is nice. I'm gonna work on the hair some more. Anyone else having a problem with the dropper bottle tops cracking lately? It's been happening more and more frequently on me. So we're going to go in with a bit of extremely dark brown. And basically pull out all the larger and deeper shadow areas of the hair. I want to at least get her head glued on today and the wrench glued on. Well, unfortunately, Alex, the people on Twitch can't see what you're typing unless they're on YouTube. That feature cost extra, I'm afraid. But after I do Jessie, I have the parts for the second version of Felicia ready. So if I wanted to print those, I could. But I'm thinking I might do this figure next. But I want some feedback on buying something off Gumroad. Where is it? I've never bought off Gumroad. I just want to know if it's like legit or if it's sketch. Ordering the stuff off there, I mean, not just... It took me a while to find the original creator of that figure, and I'd like to support them and not the places trying to resell it. But I might take a break from ritual casting after I do the Jessie figure and do that one. I haven't heard anything bad. Like, I've looked around and, you know, Gumroad itself is legit. I just... You know, with anything new like that, you're always hesitant. Especially when it concerns your credit card information and all that. I guess the only thing I can do is use it, and then if, you know, my information gets taken, just fight it. It's not the first time it's happened. I got my emissions done at one time at a new place, and I'm guessing their stuff wasn't secure because 2 days later my account was drained. I went and fought it, got the money back, but that was years ago though. These days there's information skimmers everywhere, I guess, right? Well, either dual MP7 or MP7 and anti-material rifle. One thing I thought was interesting is she's wearing an older style hat with an Edelweiss flower on the side of it. Well, there's only one place you're supposed to be able to get it, right? But she's also like cyberpunky kind of cyborg looking stuff going on too. But I hope everybody's having a good day. It's the first day of my weekend. I'm by the time my weekend's over, you guys will be starting yours, I hope. If it was a real soldier, yeah, I'd say go ahead and evaluate the positioning of their workspace. But it's a sci-fi cyborg character. I'm not really caring too much. But I think I might bump that character up to a higher spot on my list. We'll see. We'll see how I feel once I get Jesse finished. It may not even be till next month that I even get around to printing it. Pop the volume of the hair out a little bit. Ow, ow, ow. Excuse me. It's not so much the magazines that are doing that, it's what's under the magazines that's doing it. But try and get that one close to third scale as I can. A slightly different brush for this one. So obviously I did that a little sloppy, so I want to go back with the base color and just catch the highlights. It'll clean up the overall edges a bit and redefine the higher portions. Yeah, I'm not in too much of a rush to do the second version of Felicia yet, considering I just did the initial version of her, like, just a couple months ago. want to see how the initial version does at the contest on the 21st. I'll probably finish painting her hat once she's glued on, because I'll just be able to rotate the base to work on the hat. Excuse me. Oh, and if you haven't seen Alien Romulus yet, go see it. I'm gonna say that while it's still in theaters, at least. It's starting to come around. Alright, get our lighter color mix up. Excuse me. You don't want to go too much lighter, but enough it'll be noticed. Now on this, before I was going with a pretty wet brush, on this one you want to have more of the paint off of it. And kind of stay on the higher edges of things. I used Iraqi sand to lighten the chocolate brown I was working with for the highlight color. And everybody has their own way of doing hair. This is the way I like to do it. It's the easiest one, I think. It was also good that I let the head dry a couple days after I did the face, or else we'd really be messing up the oil paints I used on the skin tone on the face. Okay. Now we add a little more sand. We're going for a really high specular highlight. This will be going on really dry and mostly on the highest and sharpest points. There we go. And then a little bit right in here. Try and frame the face with it. There we go. Okay, we'll put that like that then. Put some black acrylic wash. We're going to slather it over this and our knee pads. I think I went a little too bright with the highlights on that, so I want to knock it down a little. And it'll add a little bit of like greasiness and aging to them. And if these wind up going too dark, we can bring them back up again. if there's been follows on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on Twitch, I don't know if my alerts are working and telling me or not. So if you have followed, sorry if I haven't acknowledged it. But I want to try and enter this and the original Felicia version in the contest on the 21st, if I can. If I can get it finished. Stand that back up in its base for a moment. There we go. Yeah. You've got the options to do either one in the kit from the look of it. The problem is, I think the barrel on that is fluted. Typically, I'd like to replace it with a metal barrel. Because the resin I print with likes to warp over time. Like it'll just it'll start to curve no matter what I do. So if it's not fluted, then I might be able to do something. But if it is, I could try printing it hollow and see if maybe I can find a metal rod to put in it. Dirty up the shoes next. Using Vallejo acrylic wash just to throw some grime on it. This is more to pop out the detailing on it than anything, but you'll see as it goes on. Yeah, so when I'm printing it, I'd have to figure out the size and diameter. Well, I could even do that after it's printed, and then see if I can find a suitable aluminum or brass rod or tube to stick in it after it's printed to give it the rigidity so it doesn't warp and curl in itself. if I decide to get it. There's that. So that's our base uneven, dirty looking layer. Let that dry for a minute. Uh-oh. Wakey wakey. With that, go see go see Alien. It's worth it. It was fun. Ow. And no, I'm not being paid to say, excuse me, say that. Actually, yeah, you can't see it. It's directly behind me. I mean, I do have a pulse rifle. There's a facehugger around here somewhere, too. I think it's up on top. Bigger brush out. Time to spatter some oil, if it'll let me. And these should dry into little dots that look like, you know, okay, they just took that trashed, you know, transaxle out of something and it just pissed fluid all over the place when they were doing it. So it got all over the lower parts of her legs. And that'll dry a lot lighter than it looks. And if some of it seems too thick, I can always go back with a damp brush and blend it in a little bit too. Should probably take some of the brown stuff and do it too, just to give it some variation. Oh shit, it got on her face. Whoopsie. Oh, that just fucked up her entire face. Unless I can make it look like it's intentional grease staining. Which wouldn't be out of place. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just messed it all up. We'll see. Maybe I can work it into it. I'll have to see it once the whole thing's assembled. If I can make it look more smudgy, then, you know, that might work. We'll see. If people pick up on it as smudges on the face tonight at the meeting, then I'll leave it at that. Using a bit of the thinned out oily, the dirty oil wash to kind of stain the shirt. Trying to work with my happy accident. So how's everybody doing today anyway? Got a much larger audience than we had the past few streams, so thank you for coming in and hanging out, even if you're just lurking. Okay, now I need a different brush. There we go. Something a bit softer and drier to pick up the excess and not smear it down further too badly. Well, like I said, I kind of screwed it up when I did the first flickering of the griminess. I didn't watch out and I got some onto the face. And the way it cleaned up, it looks kind of like somebody, you know, with dirty hands. You know, she's been working on greasy, oily equipment now. So I'll leave it at that and play with it some more. So I figured I'd bring some of that up onto the shirt too. Okay, where's... As Kevin Bacon once infamously said, "I got me a plan." Greasy palms. I'm kind of just running with ideas now. I don't know if they'll read properly. I still have to paint whatever this is that she's got on her wrist. It's not a wrap, it's more like a brace. I'll probably just go with a leather color on it. It feels like leather. together. Sweat stained tank top, spattered coveralls, dirty palms, handprint on the ass. There's my leather. Leather. There it is. Actually, I do need to take a move around break. So I'm going to pause for a minute, stand up, move around, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. And we're going to paint her other arm brace so that way we can get the tool glued in place shortly. Alrighty. There's even a second version of this character, but she's like welding. And all this guy's models come with a safe for display and not safe for display option, I guess you could call it. Then again, I don't know anyone who would do topless welding. So. But it also comes with the tank top on. I generally don't do the nudes though, because there's really, to me, there's no purpose for them. It looks like we lost a few people. I was on my break. That's okay. I think I'll do this neck wrap in it too. Where did the other? There it is. Again, using the German dark brown to basically lay in all the shadows. Essentially the same process we did for the hair, just with slightly different browns. Whoops, jumped forward, but I was going to pick something slightly different anyway. Excuse me. Sorry if I've gone a little quiet. Just kind of out of things to talk about right now in my head. You know. And I've got to let that dry. But I know I just took my break, but I've actually reached a stopping point. There's some other things I got to take care of before I go to my model meeting tonight. So, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you're able to watch tomorrow. Should be on hopefully a little earlier, and we'll probably start working on Jessie. We'll probably finish her tomorrow and start working on Jessie. So, again, thanks for watching, and catch y'all later.